Hey guys, this is Eric Weingartner. It's Saturday, although I'm filming this on a Friday, just letting you know. So it's like an update of what's going on in the shop. There's a lot of cool stuff to talk about, some neat stuff. Anyway, the engine exactly where it was last week. Keith had to take off today because he had to work his regular job, so that engine hasn't been moved since last week, which kind of sucks. So I need to get this out to get that dyno because it's still pissing all over the ground. The transmission is on that front seal, so I need to change that. But I did want to show some other stuff. These are a set of RHS/Pro Topline cast iron heads. Now, this is what's interesting. I won't make a whole video out of this or nothing, but he got these and they were 72 cc's. Got them from Facebook Marketplace pretty cheap. And I told him, I bet you I can mill them down to 64, because I think that's what they do from the factory. And yep, 64 cc's now, flat mill. Won't have a problem with the intake lining up or anything. Got to do the valve job on those. All of this stuff here was valve job yesterday. It's quite a bit to get done, but quite a bit. So, I mean, it's been very, very busy in the shop. The porting room's dark because I'm getting ready to get in there. But I did want to show you, that wasn't really the stuff I wanted to show you. It was this. So, the Cadillac heads did get done. These are Cadillac, the old, not like your LS stuff, although the chambers kind of look that way. But they're done. I'm going to flow them here in a second and make its own video on that. But that is not the cool part to show you. This is. So if you listened to me last week, you heard that I went to the Racers auction last week. I had never been to a Racers auction. I'm going to go ahead and warn you, if you ever go there, there's a lot of junk. It's straight out junk. However, you can get most of that stuff pretty cheap. But in between the junk, you get a few just gems. And this is not one of them. I just got impatient. So I'll tell you. What this intake is, this is a Professional Products Hurricane. Now, I had wanted one of these because, it'd be interesting to test on the dyno mule. And lo and behold, there were like 5 of them there. This happened to be the first one in the auction. I'd already been there for 4 hours at this point when this one finally came up because there's a whole bunch of crap I really didn't want. I ended up overbidding on this just because I got impatient, and it cost me $100. Now, why? Why did I get this one? Well, because this one, I prefer to have an unmolested one. This one's definitely molested. The Hurricanes are good. I think they are. This, in case you don't know, is the later version of the Hurricane. It's not the Hurricane Plus. This is just the later version of the Hurricane. You could tell because of how wide the dividers are. The earlier Hurricanes were actually thicker. They were better for porting. This one is a butchered job. This is butchered. So let me show you what I mean. This is, I'm not paying $250 to have someone gasket match it. I can do it myself. It's everything and kind of wrong. So you can see all this. And not only that, they just angled out the top. That's all they did to make it meet the gasket. And of course, nailed right there. So yeah, it's going to be tough to get it to seal. We're just going to silicone the living shit out of it. But anyway, you might say, why did you get it? Well, because of this. I had some ideas on the dyno mule stuff, and I'm getting to these in just a sec too. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to do cylinder heads, but maybe I should do intakes first, and I am. So I think the plan's going to go this way. I've got the AFR intake for sure. I now definitely own this one, and I also own the not Edelbrock, but that Torque Link dual plane manifold. I haven't asked the customers if I can use some different single planes, so I know for sure I can use these. I thought to save time on testing, what I would do is try something different on each one of the manifolds. This way I don't have to change one thing on a manifold, go re-dyno. I can test 3 different ideas. They're just on 3 different manifolds, but we'll have baselines. So let me explain. The AFR intake has that clover leaf. So on that AFR intake, after its baseline, I'm going to remove that clover leaf to see what it does. On this one, because it's Sam Butcher reed, which is probably what some of you have seen before, the first thing I'm going to do is, which sucks, I'm going to use just epoxy. I'm going to fill up all that stuff to make it look like it should and fix that. Then one of the things I'm going to be testing with this is this manifold will be testing links. So I'll be adding epoxy to make the dividers longer and longer to see what it actually does. I really want a third, so if maybe you viewers can help me out. I really do want a third unmolested, very cheap, because all of this dyno mule stuff, most of the parts have come out of my pocket, with a few exceptions. AFR supplied the heads and intake. Urson supplied the cam. That's about it. So everything, and Scat did give me a good deal on the rotating assembly. But everything else has come out of pockets for me. So Gary's not giving up the dyno time for free, nor would I even ask him because he's got to make a living too. So Anyway, point being is if you have an unmolested hurricane intake, I really would like to have that one, because then I can compare it against one that someone can do better job with, because you can also tell they did some sand butchery in here too. But anyway, with that hurricane intake one, I can then compare them, but also on that hurricane intake, so each one's trying a different idea. On the unmolested hurricane, I would like to try surface finishes. So I'll do a really mirrored one, see what it does. And then like a burr finish one, and see what it does. This way, each time I go to the dyno, I can bring 4 different intakes, but they're testing 4 different ideas. I really am trying to also get another dual plane that doesn't have the divider cut down. And that way I could test that idea, how much the divider does, and also actually porting the dual plane and see what it actually does. I asked AFR if they wouldn't mind coughing up one of their dual planes, but I haven't responded yet, because I am curious to see how that one lines up against the torque link. Now, let's go on to these. These are actually the push rods for the dyno mule, so I'm sending them off. That's why I'm filming it on Friday, because FedEx is picking up today. I really wanted to use Smith & Brothers. I love their push rods. The only catch is they're like 6 weeks out. I just don't have the time. So I had to get them from Summit Racing. I wish Summit Racing would sponsor some of this, but they don't. These are the push rods used for it. These are a 3/8 135 wall, and they got a 210 tip, because I'm using shaft rockers. One of the tests I'm going to do, you're going to love this. I bought these. These are this. This is a, turn it this way. This is a Trick Flow, same length, 5/16 push rod, 080 wall. One of the things I'm going to test, I'm only doing it once because truthfully it scares the living shit out of me. It's I'm going to change just push rods. So for most of our tests, we're really just going to run this thicker one because I think it's better. Smith & Brothers, by the way, I think makes an even thicker wall one than this. Like I said, I just couldn't get it. Not in time I needed anyway. But I'm going to compare it against this little bitty dude. This is a pretty thin one. This is getting exactly one test. I'm going to ask Gary if he can't mock up when he's doing the engine mock-up, if he can't see how much lift is lost using this one versus this one in deflection. But we are going to dyno it. And trust me, one test just to see how much power this small push rod gives up versus the large one. But after that, the big one's definitely goes back in. I don't have the guts for that. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyway, that's what's going on in the shop. Hopefully you get a kick out of it. Thanks for watching. You guys take care.